If they join the European Union, this would possibly drag the European Union into a direct conflict with Russia.
I think we're still a few steps away from integrating them properly into the European Union.
What is your opinion on Ukraine possibly joining the European Union?
That's a tough question, but I don't know. I think ultimately it will be a good decision for a united European Union. Right now the decision needs to be taken carefully because, I mean, geopolitically the context is quite tense, so it shouldn't be taken too quick. But ultimately I think this is a good decision.
I would not oppose in principle to such a possibility, but I would also prefer that before jumping into that conclusion, the war just stops. So I would prefer one thing at a time. So I would prefer to give priority to end the war, and then with another spirit we can discuss, or the relevant countries should discuss then the possibility of Ukraine joining the EU.
I'm not sure. I think it can be something that can be realized. However, I think we're still a few steps away from integrating them properly into the European Union, yes.
What are those steps?
I think first of all the war. I think the war has to end before you can integrate a country. I'm sure that in Ukraine there are still maybe the democracy is not that completed as it should be, which was also clear before the Ukraine war. So I think we should, as Europeans, first look into that and try to solve these issues before getting into the integration of Ukraine into the European Union. Yeah.
If I have to be honest, Ukraine joining the European Union at this exact moment would be, first off, a big mistake for them because they're currently at war with Russia. And if they join the European Union, this would possibly drag the European Union into a direct conflict with Russia, which could be not just destructive for Ukraine, but also for my home country, Bulgaria, for many other countries, because Bulgaria is not even 1,000 kilometers away from Ukraine. So my opinion is, unless there's some kind of ceasefire between the two countries, Ukraine should probably postpone their joining of the European Union.
I think it's a good idea for them to join, especially with the war, so that they are, hopefully the war ends in favor of Ukraine, and then in the future they will be better protected from Russia. So I think it's a good idea. But I think it would be difficult for them to join while the war is still going, because then that means because of the agreements that the European Union will also be at war, and I think that should be prevented, but we should help Ukraine against Russia, I think.
What could be possibly the risk or advantages if they're joining the European Union? What do you think?
Well, the risk is regarding the war. So having a war that spreads at the European Union level. So, okay, we want peace. What would be good, I think it's protection of democratic values that we share amongst all European countries. In terms of budget, if Ukraine is part of Europe, there will be more budget spent on defense to protect the interest of the European Union, considering that Ukraine is part of Europe, yes. So, of course, it will have a big impact, I guess.
There's always a risk of democratic backlash. Right now there is a lot of talk about corruption in Ukraine, so they have to eliminate that before they can join. Yeah.
And advantages?
Advantages, it's always good to enlarge the economic space of the European Union. How bigger, how better. In the short term, it's going to be costly for Belgium and for the net payers of the European Union. But I think in the long term it will pay off if Ukraine also grows in democratization. And also it's also good that we can spread democracy as the European Union.
geopolitically, definitely it's a resource-rich country, so it can definitely help, and its people are also somewhat connected, also ideologically to us. I mean, there are also groups which are not in Ukraine, but I think overall it can, if the diplomacy and the communication works well, it can also be an advantage to the European Union. Yeah.
I think the advantage would be that the European Union expands towards the east as well, which provides better opportunities for the people in Eastern Europe, I think. The risk is, of course, that then we will, as a European Union, have a closer border to Russia and possibly a bigger divide between Europe and Russia. And I think that could be a risk.